Yeah. So today we'll be underwriting a deal I'm looking at here in Birmingham, Alabama. So I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick.
So this is a live deal that you have?
So this is a deal that, no, this is a deal I just underwrote. So I'm not, I'm not buying it or anything like that. But for the purpose of this, we'll go ahead and use it for the session. Yeah. So hopefully it's helpful. Alrighty. Let me see if I can get my screen shared. All right, here we go.
What's going on, y'all? Just talking.
Hey, thank you. What's going on? Hey, hi, Alex.
Hello. This is just my second week in these practice sessions.
Okay. Hey, Alex, you wanted to share anything with the group, like any wins or any deals you underwrote so far or anything like that before we get started?
I've been in real estate for about a year. I own 2 units to my name in San Diego. I've been underwriting with my own model for that entire year until I realized that you can just pay for one. I paid for this one 2 weeks ago, and now I'm in week 2. So I've maybe underwritten a couple of deals. Aspiring multifamily syndicator. Looking forward to learning. The most interesting thing about this stuff is that different people look at that P&L sheet differently and take assumptions that are different. It's like an experienced person versus a new person. Like I love seeing how different people make different assumptions about that profit and loss, because if that's the same, then we're basically underwriting the same deal the same way. So that's what I'm most looking forward to learning more about.
No, I love it. No, thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. And, traditionally, this is, Charles's call, but there are the Quest Expo, so I'm filling in for him. So usually we use the STDA tool on the session. Today we'll be using a tool called Synthesis. At the very least, that would be something interesting on the session. We're going to go through a different tool today. So I'll go ahead and put the link inside the chat for this tool if anyone is interested. But it's called Synthesis right there. So cool. So today we'll be looking at a 213 unit deal in Birmingham, Alabama called the Kenzie. And this deal is a 1974 build. It's a 213 unit property, and it's on market. It's listed by Cushman & Wakefield. So on the session, first we'll be going through the T12, and then from there we'll be looking at the offering memorandum with the broker provided to go through and make some assumptions about what it would need to look like, for us to, make a profit on the deal. So we'll just start and hop in on the T12. So I just uploaded the T12 to directly to the underwriting to just make it a little bit easier for us. Charles usually likes to ask, for anyone that's been on a call before, how do we usually look at the T12, guys? As far as the income and expenses, anyone would like to share how we usually look at the T12? On what basis?
I think that the income, you look at the rolling 12, and the expenses, you look at the rolling 3 and multiply it by 4, or am I have those backwards?
So the way. Yeah, other way. Appreciate it, Jeff. Yes. So we usually look at the T12 on a T3. I'm sorry, we usually look at the income on a T3 annualized basis, and we usually look at the T12, the expenses on a T12 basis. So we look at the income on a trailing 3 basis, and we look at the expenses on a trailing 12 basis. And anyone want to share why is that? Like why we look at it on that basis?
Because lenders look at it like that.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so that's 100% on the money right there. We look at it like that because lenders, that's how lenders would look at it. And just real quick, hey, anyone with any background noise, let's be respectful of the session and please mute. Thank you guys. So right now we'll just be going through this together. So I already started with the income here. Let me just.
Eddie, will you be sharing these Excel sheets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be sharing after the session. So,
Okay.
so yeah, this is my first one, guys. Just full disclaimer. So, just be patient with me. I'm gonna try to get through this session for us, and hopefully, it's an enjoyable session. So right now, I'm just pulling out the T3 income. Okay. So this would be K27 through M27. Okay. I think I could just drag this all the way down. That should populate. Okay. Okay, so that's a start. Alrighty, so anyone in the session want to explain what market rent is? I think that's the first thing we're going to look over. So, anyone know the difference between what market rent is on a property? Okay, so market rent, is a common misconception. So market rent usually has something to do with it doesn't have anything to do with the market. In reality, it has nothing to do with the market. It has everything to do with what a property is renting for today. So that's basically what, market rent is. And the gross potential rent, is this top line item right here. So that would just be basically all of the, the rents on the property based on the market rent. So if the market rent was $850, we would just multiply that by the number of units that's on the property, and then that would give us our gross potential rent. Okay. So on this model that we're using, I'll go ahead and punch this gross potential rent in here for us. So gross potential rent. 1 second. So that would be 2,545,108. Okay. Alrighty. And then now we're going to calculate the physical vacancy on the property. So does anyone know what the difference is between physical vacancy and economic vacancy on the call? I would like to share.
I believe physical vacancy is when someone's not physically in the unit and it's completely vacant. And economic vacancy, I believe, would be if someone that works at the unit is living in there at a discounted price.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong,
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, actually.
Okay, so I think that's on the right line, and Charles would have like the more detailed version of the explanation, but you hit the nail on the head. For me, physical vacancy, is a unit that's unoccupied but would not take much to get in rent-ready condition, and then economic occupancy is if a unit needs substantial rehab, or it's a model unit, or a leasing unit, or the leasing like a leasing office that's used as a unit, or units that are physically occupied but tenants are not paying rent. So I hope that is not as smooth as like Charles' explanation, but I hope it was helpful. So physical vacancy is usually units that's unoccupied and they don't take much to get rent ready, right? And then economic vacancy, includes people that are not paying rent, as well as like a unit that was converted, to a model unit, or maybe a leasing office, or a unit that needs substantial rehab. So that's usually, the difference between the two.
So
Okay.
One question: if there's a unit which is rented at a much lower rent as compared to the market rent for that type of unit, will that be a economic vacancy, or it's not considered as economic vacancy? For example, the market rent for a unit is 1,000, and we have some tenants we are paying about 750, 600 or so. Will those be considered as economic vacancies or not?
To my understanding, no. And anyone that's on the call that thinks otherwise, you can correct me. But I'm filling in for Charles today. From my understanding, no. Like having a delta between what the unit is renting at versus what the market rate rent is on the property, that wouldn't really be considered economic. Basically, that the physical vacancy, would be just a vacant unit, that wouldn't take much to get rent ready. And then the economic would be, any units that are down. So think about like, units that are gutted, or maybe a burned unit that's considered like a down unit. That would be like economic vacancy, right? So a unit that would have substantial rehab needed, or a model unit, right? So if you have a unit that where the property manager or the property has allocated that unit as a model to show like prospective residents like a unit, that would be considered economic vacancy, or if it's a unit that was converted to a leasing office, right? So just think about it like this. Physical vacancy is any unit that wouldn't take much to get back rent ready and occupied. And economic is one that would either take substantial rehab or something that's been converted, or basically a tenant does not pay in rent. To the best of my what I can explain, live, I think that's basically what it is.
So if somebody buy the apartment complex, which has let's say 100 units, and out of 100 units, 2 units are used for, let's say, property manager, or 1 unit is used as an office or let's say storage. So when you buy that property, if they say price per unit, does this price per unit also include these 2 apartments which are not actually actively used as a for renting out by the previous seller?
I mean, if it's a unit, and this is just me going off cuff. If it's a unit that was originally a rental unit, or it hasn't been like substantially converted. Like let's say it still has the same like structure, as it was built. Not any major conversion. It should still be calculated in that per unit cost. So if you have like a large apartment complex and it has like a leasing office on site, that's not really in that per unit cost. So it's usually just the units that are shown on the rent roll, those units, are in your per unit basis. So for example, on this property, right, we have 213 units total, right? 213 units. So that's what we're using as our per unit basis right here. You see that? So this isn't including, any leasing office, this isn't including, a leasing office, right? So this would just be all of the rentable units, to the best of my understanding. That's how it is. And if that's not too clear for you, definitely like pocket that question, and then we'll go over it because Charles is going to be back next Saturday. So if I hadn't covered that like in enough detail, he'll be back next Saturday to hopefully help out. So let's go ahead and try to get the physical vacancy in here. So anyone on the call anyone can guess like which line item here is physical vacancy?
Say 16.
Correct. So line item 16, this is going to be our physical vacancy right here. I just highlighted it. So that's $45,765.08. Okay. So in my mall is as a percentage. So that percentage would just be 179.8158. 45,765. Okay, awesome. Alrighty. So going back, so we have our physical vacancy. Cool. All right. So next, let's see if we can find concessions, guys. So which line items on here would you guys consider concessions?
Would that be one-time concession / discounts?
Which line item? Let me see. One time, 22.
Maybe 21.
Yeah. I think guys, 22. It looks like it was a credit. So when I'm sorry. It looks like this expense was actually in line item in September, and we're actually using the T3 annualized. So we're using the last 3 months. So that's a 0. So we wouldn't need to include that. But correct. If it did have something in the last 3 months, we would include that. So you're right on the money on that. Any other line items here that you guys would consider concessions?
Line 21?
Correct. Yeah, line 21. So employee discounts is a concession. Any other line items you guys see here that you would consider a concession?
Sorry, quick question here. When you say concession, you mean economy vacancy?
No. Like a concession, like basically, if it's any incentives the property would be giving, residents to move in, like something along those lines.
Like an incentive. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Or let me see. Yeah, that should be it. And then also, I think in this case, line 17 would actually be considered a concession, I think, in this one. Let me just double check. Concession. Okay. This is 2736. Let's try this. So 17. And then let's add new line item 21. 21. Play discounts. I think guys, we're gonna just stick with actually line item 21 for concessions. Sorry about that. So it's 21. So let me remove that. So our concession would actually be item 21. So to be 20,736. So my model, that's 0.814769. 2737 36. Pull this out. 73675. There we go. All right, so let's do loss to lease now. So loss to lease.
Hey Eddie, sorry, this is Charles. Would vacancy loss be a part of vacancy as well, or do you leave that separate? Line 17 that you were thinking about putting in concessions.
Line 17, vacancy loss model. I think this would be economic vacancy. Charles, I think this would be economic vacancy. So yeah, at first I was like, no problem. I was like, okay, this may be concessions, but I'm thinking this is going to end up being economic vacancy, guys. So let's try to do the loss to lease. So let me see real quick.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, what's up?
I thought your model had, like, you see line 9, it has a part for model unit. I thought you could just put it in there. The vacancy loss on the T12, you could just put it in there.
Yeah, I'm about to. So on this model, it's gonna have loss to lease, bad debt, and model unit all on one line. So what we'll do, we'll just bulk all of that in this one line item. So usually I think the SDA tool has it like broken out, but we just gonna bulk them all in this one line item, if that's okay with you guys. We just gonna put them all on here. Okay, cool. So that would be this. I'm sorry, and usually I like to color code stuff. This is a little bit different, than what Charles does, but like this just kind of helps me get like a visual of what's what. So
that's helpful, actually, color coding. But can you tell me why you didn't include 22, line 22? Because you highlighted that, but
yeah. So you see, we're doing income on a T3 annualized basis, and you see if you look at line item 22, you see these last 3 months. Is actually no income in the last
okay,
3 months.
I get it.
So I just wanted to go ahead and just leave that out. But if it was some income in these last 3 months, we'll go ahead and bulk that in concessions. But that negative number was in September, so we're just gonna leave it off. Okay, so got concessions, and then we got vacancy, physical, and then let's do loss to lease. Okay. Bear with me, guys. This is loss to lease, bad debt, unit 166. Okay. Okay. Anyone see the line item that's bad debt? I'm trying to find that one. Bad debt. So I'm using this mall unit. So right now we're looking for bad debt and loss to lease or gain to lease, which I think is.
What about line 18 for bad debt?
Write off unpaid debt. Yeah, you got it. There we go. So let's try that. Let me just see what we get here.
And does bad debt just refer to people who are not paying? Because it says line 18 is unpaid rent. Or what is bad debt?
I don't really have like the detailed explanation for you today. Sorry, I'm just trying to get through for Charles.
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah. Okay. So our number. Let's see.
Just to answer that previous question, bad debt expense is when you don't think that you'll get the unpaid rent back.
Yeah, like just uncollected fees or uncollected rent.
Exactly.
Got you. Thank you. 4, 6. So there's no rubs on the property. And then, so let's just hop into other income real quick. Because that number was wrong. I had, but let me see. So other income. So guys, would it be other income? Would it be classified as other income?
Like pet fees, carport,
laundry.
Yeah. Laundry, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Anything else?
Gym, let's say indoor gym. Gym fee.
Washer and dryer.
Yep.
Lock change fee, I guess the duplicate keys.
So everyone, yeah, guys. So everyone is right. Actually, all of these right here is considered other income. So what is other income, right? So from my understanding, and you guys can add on it if you'd like, other income is anything outside of regular rental income, right? So anything outside of regular rental income, we'll go ahead and classify as other income. So for this,
hey, Ed,
hey, what's up?
Okay, let me chime in right quick here because other income, as example, late fee. If nobody was late, and then you wouldn't get, that wouldn't be considered income. So there's certain other incomes that's not is bad income. So some things should not, like late fees and things like that, key repairs and all things. I don't think should be other income because if you did not have those, and then you would not have that income.
Yeah, well, no. Actually, other income would be any, all of these would be considered other income right here, actually. So line items 27 through 49 is other income. So when we think about, the other income, that's basically anything outside of like regular rental income, that's being collected, like your rent. Anything outside of that is, in this model would be considered other income. So as everyone was just chiming in on, washer, dryer, amenities, application fees, move-in, lease termination, all of these are considered other income because it's income outside of, regular rent. So
yeah, I agree with you, but the point is that all income is not looked at the same way. You got good income and you got bad income. And out of the other income, you have bad income in that, which is not considered good income. But I'm just putting that out there. Okay.
I mean, I understand what you getting at, but like this other income right here, this column, other income, okay, for the purpose of the model is all of these line items. So we would put this in our model as other income so line items 27 through 49 is other income. And I'm sorry, I can't really explain it as in detail as Charles. So I would pocket that as well, because he probably can go in detail and just explain it like a little bit better as to why. But, for me personally, my understanding is, other income is anything outside of rental. So let's just go with that for now. And we'll take line items 27 through 49, and then we'll just bump those into other income.
So just a question, if there's a regular income that we're getting on the average the same amount over the period of last 1 year every month, let's say washer, the washer, dryer, laundry, but if there are some other fees which are which doesn't have this behavior, like those are on some months you have some money collected, on some month we don't have money collected, or maybe on 1 month there's a huge amount and the rest of the 11 months there's no fee collected because those are kind of very irregular fees. So shall we include those into income or shall we not? Like something which is very infrequent and it shows up in one of the month. So we can reliably use those as a source of income.
Yeah, I mean, I would just stick with what I said, like outside of like rental income, if it's now in the T3 annualized, we'll probably just be using these last 3 months, right? So like what we were saying earlier, like for instance, we had in concessions, we had this like one payment here in September. So you see that it didn't bump out like, in our actual model, but, just for this session, let's just assume that, anything outside of rental income is other income. And we're looking at this on a T3 annualized basis for the income. So we take running it. Yeah. Hey, what's up? Go ahead.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey. You had a question, Chris? Sorry.
No, sorry about that.
You good. All right, guys. So which items here in rental income would y'all consider other income? Like which line items?
23, pet.
Yeah, 23.
How would you treat 19? Is this the write-off that they recovered? So I guess recovered bad debt. Would you consider that other income? And the one from agency.
Which line item?
19 and 20. It seems like they had bad debt that they actually got back. So I guess that would be other income.
No, that wouldn't be other income in this case. Other income would be, so pet fees, that's other income. Then also, anyone want to take a guess before I I go ahead and just say it, like for the in this first column right here. So line items 11 through 23. Any other income items you guys want to guess like what it is?
Maybe the rent premiums.
Yeah, rent premiums.
Which line item? Sorry, which line item is that?
Go back. Hold on. Give me a quick second. 14.
Correct. 14? Yes, correct. That's other income.
15.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So 14 and 15 is other income. So we'll go ahead and do that. So that would be 8,900. And we will do 2,100. Okay.
What does that mean, rent premiums?
You know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, to be honest. Like,
I think it's when they charge a little more instead of somebody doing like an annual.
Yeah.
Something, and so you can charge more if somebody's on a month-to-month or shorter term lease.
Great save. That's it. Great save. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I don't know how Charles is a beast, man. He be multitasking. It's hard to focus on two things at once, but that's definitely it, guys. You know, this rental premium. So you could see in the line item here is a short-term lease. So, you know, they were getting a premium for like the short-term lease, or if it's a month-to-month lease, you know, sometimes they could charge extra for that. So you run out of money, you know, that's what that would be. So I'm trying to see. 1, 2, 3. Is there anything else up here that we would consider? No, that's about it. So that's it for here. So let's go down. These line items through lines 27 through 49. What would we consider other income, guys? Line items 27 through 39. I think I said it earlier. It'd be all, right? So that would be this right here. It would be 50. Okay. So our total other income is 55,438. I can't even get my words out. $55,358. I know that's wrong. Someone help me. Y'all say that, but this is the number right here. Where however you say it.
4,358.
There we go. Thank you. So you know, I'm just trying to get us through this. So let me go ahead and copy that number. But that is the right number. Just gonna get my stuff out. 554,358.60. 554,358.60. Okay, let me just do a little check right here. Okay, so our total income, net income, is 2,866,572.27. Okay. All right, so let's get down into the expenses. So I'll just go ahead and exit out these placeholders. Let's do that. Okay. So how, guys, again, how are we looking at expenses again? On what basis?
T12.
T12. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. So we'll start out with this column right here. 56 is salaries and bonuses. So this is like payroll. I would consider this payroll. So guys, do you see anything in this column, 57 through 63, that you would not consider payroll?
No.
Awesome. All righty. So that's right. So all of these is payroll. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, what about line items 67 through 74?
They would be included as well. All of them.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Alrighty. So
So what's the difference between total salary related and total salary and related? 75 and 76.
Charles will probably be able to like give you in detail like what the difference is, but like right now, what we're trying to do is find like all of the expenses that's relating to payroll. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're trying to do right now. So the payroll items right here, so that would be, you know, anything relating to staffing, you know, stuff like that, right? So right now we're trying to find that total. So I would say pocket that. I don't want to say the wrong thing, you know, to you, like the difference between the two. But right now we're just trying to find like what that total is for the payroll. So that would be these two. Let me see, payroll. Okay, 253, 215. Okay. And hey guys, anyone see anything else that's supposed to be in payroll? I'm just trying to make sure I got the. Okay, so I think the number is kind of off here, but this would be, let's go ahead and get it in. $306, 170, 24. 870, 24, 6, 70, 24. All right. So let's move down. Okay. So we're going through advertising and promotion. So which items here, line items 79 through 88, which line items will we consider, you know, advertising and promotion, guys?
Yeah.
Nothing? All of it?
I think that's correct. Yeah.
All of them.
All of them. There you go. Thank you, guys. Okay.
Eddie, line 84 could be, you know, like a concession, but you know, just keep it simple. You know, just classify it all as marketing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Resident retention and incentives.
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we right on the money on that. So we good, Kim, you think for the call we want to just lump it in?
Yeah.
Advertising.
Simple. Yeah.
Okay.
Simple.
Cool.
Yeah.
Charles always has like this thing, guys, what he says where he's like, yo, like it's better to have it somewhere than nowhere. So that's how we gonna be moving through this call today. But yeah, Kim, I appreciate that. That's a great catch right there.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay, so let's move down. So alarm service, guys. What would y'all consider this to be? What would y'all classify this as? So we're looking at line item 92. What would y'all classify 92 as?
Admin?
Yes. So I would definitely put this in G&A. Hey, do you want to explain to the group, you know, why you would classify this as admin?
Well, the amount per month is pretty consistent. So, you know, it could be like as a contract service, but, you know, for a contract service is usually trash, landscaping, and pool and pest control. And so since it is not a contract service, I'm thinking that it's a GA.
Yeah, you're right on the money. So also, I'd like to add to that, an alarm service, right? So this dollar amount we're seeing here, this probably is not a cost for like individual units. So keep in mind, we have 213 units, on this property, right? So having a fee of like $51.99, each month, it's probably not going to be something that's applicable to all of the units on the property, right? So I'm thinking that this may be an alarm service for maybe the leasing office, right? So this may be the leasing office's alarm service. What do you guys think about that? Is you think that's a okay assumption, so we good with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So let's go ahead and put that in G&A. Okay. Got that. And then, so now we into the maintenance section. Okay. So let's start out with this top line item right here, guys, this landscape contract, right? What do we think this is? Would y'all classify this as a regular repair and maintenance, or would y'all classify this as something else? So we're looking at line item 96. So say that one more time. I think someone got it right. What is it?
Services.
There we go. I think that was Jeff. So yeah, absolutely right. So this is a contract service. So Jeff, would you mind telling the group why we would classify this as a contract service?
It's a contract they made with a landscaper to keep the grounds up for a certain amount monthly.
Yes, absolutely.
It's reoccurring.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else, Jeff? Why would we consider it as a contract service? So also let's look at the frequency, right? So the frequency of this, guys, doesn't it look, pretty frequent across the year?
It's pretty consistent for the most part.
Yeah, right. So usually with a contract service, we want to see something that, has around the same frequency, throughout the entire year. So you're right on the money with that. Let's go ahead and lump this into contract service, guys.
Speaking of which, it's kind of interesting that the alarm service in cell B92 had like a huge upstart cost.
Yeah.
So maybe that's either when they first installed it or they got a call, because in cell K92, there's a 107 cost. So maybe just something to ask about, or I don't know if other experienced operators have thoughts on that. Nicole.
I think that's a great point out. Anyone have anything to add to it? Add to that? I think I have a little thing, but I wanted to give the group a chance. Anyone else have some feedback on what he just said? So guys, usually with a expense that's this dollar amount, because it's so small, usually Charles wouldn't advise to maybe ask about it that small. But with that same thing that he had pointed out, if this was a larger amount and we had a huge bump in frequency, then I think usually Charles would say to go ahead and ask about that. But that's a great point, and that's usually how we look at everything. I think the dollar amount is the only thing that would stop us from doing it in this particular case, but that's a great catch. So guys, let's go ahead and put this in contract services here. So that's 34,206. Okay. All right, we got that. Okay. Anything else through line items 96 through 134 that you guys would consider a contract service, maybe?
122, pest control.
Correct. There we go. So pest control. Would be a contracted service as well. And so we'll go ahead and highlight that. And that's 2764. Just double check. All right, 2764. And my bad, guys. You know, on this model, it actually has landscaping broken out instead of putting it in contract services. So it is a contracted service, but for this model, it actually has it broken out here. But if it didn't have this line item, we would just bulk them all in contract services. But it'll be fine right here for what we have. So everything else under here, right? Would we are we okay to put everything else in repairs and maintenance, or you guys want to? Y'all have any comments on anything else here? Or are we cool to put everything else in repair and maintenance? I don't really see anything that's standing out to me here that I would say, you know, isn't like really R&M. And we're talking about line items 97 through 134.
What about 130, contract labor?
Contract labor.
Is that under like a payroll or contract services?
You know, it's hard to say, really. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't really classify this one as a, you know, contract service, just because, I mean, we see it's the first quarter of the year. I mean, I wouldn't consider this as payroll, because you see like it's the first quarter of the year, and then it just kind of drops off. You know, it's not. Yeah.
Things need to be repaired, and that's how they got that labor cost as needed.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, we didn't really have much frequency there. So, and then as far as payroll, it's really hard to say, you know, it's really hard to classify this one as payroll, just because, I mean, it's not really too frequent, right? I mean, this may have been a seasonal worker, maybe. So that could have been a case, but since we don't really know, you know, I would consider, you know, us just putting this in R&M for now, because we don't really know exactly what it could be. Does it make sense?
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so cool. So let's do that. So
So Eddie, let me ask you a question. Will you say that anything that does not fall under maintenance could be contract service?
You said, what I say that anything that's not considered maintenance, would it be contract services? You know, that would be too general, James, like, just because, you know, I like to think about, okay, a contract service, right? That's something that's usually has the same frequency and cost, right, throughout the year. It has some type of frequency or cost, you know. So I don't really, I think you should take a case by case, honestly, like maybe just looking line item by line item, and then just seeing like, okay, is it the same within frequency and cost, right? And then that's how you usually do it, versus like that blank statement. I don't want to like lead you down that road and you're like, okay, you know, anything that's not R&M is contract services. So just always keep in mind, you know, a contract service is usually something that is the same in frequency and cost, right? So that's usually, you know, what Charles, you know, tells us how to look at it.
Okay, but let me ask you a question though. Just saying, I saw, I think fire extinguishers and security or something.
Hold on. Let me go back for you. Which line items,
so
James?
That is line number 123, 123.
123. Okay.
Not 123, but also 124. So what I'm saying is that I have a contract with this company. Anytime something go wrong with these systems, you will come in. So that could be in December, that could be February, or whatever the case may be, right?
I mean, sorry, go ahead. I thought I saw someone was saying something, or is that no? I think it's just some background noise. Yeah. Yeah, James. I mean, I don't like to get too much in the weeds with it, right? I mean, because like mainly when we're looking at the T12, right, we try to get everything somewhere, right?
Right.
And you don't, we're trying to just get everything somewhere, right? So usually I just like to go off of those initial assumptions, because then you just get caught up in trying to figure out what really no information from like the broker or anything.
People about more details, like like more expenses, like see like HVAC.
Hey guys, Charles usually acts like if it's a side conversations or anything, if we can please keep it muted, just for the call. But yeah, so I would basically just lump these in R&M, for right now. Let's just do that, because it's not really the same in frequency and cost. So we'll just do that.
Okay.
All right, R&M. Okay. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Okay, we got up to here. And then we got up to here. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, let's keep it moving. Cool. So let's go down to this next section right here. So line items 138 through 149. Guys, is everyone okay assuming that these are turnover costs?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's do it. Okay.
Yes, in line number 150, it's already summed up.
Oh, it's already, yeah, there we go. I just checking it to the side there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have a separate line item here for turnover. So we'll just go ahead and bump that in there. Okay. All right, moving on. All right, so this next section here is office and administrative. So guys, in office and administrative, line items 153 through 184, is there anything here that you guys would like to break out of office and admin?
Maybe legal fees.
There you go, perfect. So legal fees is line item 181. So we're gonna go ahead and break that out. Anything else, Jeff, that you'd like to break out? We have line item 181. Anything else you'd like to break out?
182. Yeah, 182.
Okay. And hold on, let me fix something real quick. I think I brought down this total wrong. Yeah. Hold on, let me fix something real quick. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Cool. All right, so we breaking out legal fees and tenant and evictions. Okay. 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 Outside of that, guys, are we cool with putting everything else here in office and admin? I mean, I'm sorry, office G&A. We got office supplies, banking costs, telephone, cable, all of these are like related to the office. So it's easy, it should be, we should be fine just going ahead and lump in all of these outside of like those legal fees, and in G&A. So let's just go ahead and do that. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so that's G&A. All right, guys. Line items 180. Line item 188. What will we classify that as?
Management.
What type of management? You got it, Kim. What type of management?
Property management.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll go ahead and put this in property management. Alrighty.
So why payroll is not included in the management fees?
Payroll is usually related to like on-site workers. So so a management fee, I think is better understood. Let's just change this from management fee to property management fee, right? So this is really what it is, right? This is a property management company that you're charging. This is a property management company, that you're hiring to manage your property. So usually a property management company, they are going to be responsible for their internal workers. But if you have like any on-site workers, like when you think on-site, let's think maintenance tech, right? Let's think leasing agent. This is someone that's working on the property, right? So that cost is usually passed through to the property, right? It's usually not absorbed by the management fees. The management fees usually cover, if you have any accounting software that's being used to do financials for the property, or, any leasing systems, that's being used, or any corporate level employees, like if you have, a COO or a controller, those are usually absorbed within the property management fees, right? But usually, a maintenance tech on site or a property manager or a leasing agent on site, that's usually considered a payroll cost. So this line item right here is actually what the company that, let's just call it ABC Management Company, they're charging the property this, to provide the service of managing it for them. I hope that made sense.
But
did
if
that
the
cover?
if the property manager also look after the maintenance and operationalize and do all the responsible for operations, for example, they can hire the staff who could be collecting rent, and can they include everything in the property management fees?
Not really. I mean, so usually this fee right here, that's just what the company is charging you to manage the property, right? So this is usually like 3% to 5%, depending on the size of the deal, but usually this is just covering, their costs, their internal costs to provide that service, as well as like the profit that they would need to make. Cause so you got to think like, they can't pay for everything, right? Because they have to make a profit. So you're hiring them for a service. So usually this fee would cover their internal systems that they have, right? Any corporate level employees that they have, right? But then any type of like on-site workers on the property, that's usually passed through to the property in a separate line item, like with payroll, right? So hope that helped. And then if that isn't too clear of an explanation, I would just say, let's pocket that if that didn't really help out, and then, Charles will be back next week and he could probably, just explain it a little bit more eloquently than me. But, yeah, that's how I sum it up. So we'll go ahead and take this number right here, this total, and let's go ahead and put it in property management fees.
So if I understand correctly, even if the property manager are hiring the staff, and let's say even they are directly paying them, in the T12, we'll have a separate line items for those. There's a separate line item for the property management and the separate line items for the payroll fees.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look look at line items 57 through 63 and then 67 through 74. So you see, this is it broken out, right? So you see, this is like bonuses for the leasing agents. This is like a maintenance supervisor on property. You see bonuses for the maintenance supervisors, leasing director, a property manager, and this is also some sort of, management fee related to that, assistant, maintenance supervisor. So all of these positions here are absorbed by the property. So if a property management company were to cover the expense of these, they wouldn't be in business, right? So it's like, they have to make a profit. So that's kind of like why this is broken out and is paid by the property, because these employees, they're working on site on this property. So that's why this is the breakdown of it right here. So you see, it was already accounted for, in these line items. And then the management fee down below would just be that general management fee they're charging for the service. So we'll go ahead and keep it moving on that. So let's look at line items 192 through 198, guys. So these line items right here, right? So they're considered utilities, right? So which one of these which line items would y'all consider an electric expense, like electric utility expense? So that'd be line items 192 through 1. There you go. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. So what line items will we put into, water and sewer? Well, I guess it says it right there. Anyone? 3 points. Water and sewer?
96.
There we go. All right. Appreciate you guys being patient with me, man. All right.
You're doing great, Ed.
Thank you. Thank you. All righty. So that's water. And sewer. Yeah, anyone here have kids? I mean, you feel like you and your kids' coloring book right now, huh? All these color codes I have, but this is it helps me out, like just breaking everything up. Okay, guys. So, what about this water billing service recovery? What would y'all consider? Like, where would y'all throw that? So it's water billing service recovery.
Other income, RUBS.
I would actually put this one, Kim. This would be a G&A expense.
Okay.
Right here, this would be G&A.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and what color code did I have for G&A? It don't matter. All right. Take that out. Okay, let me don't do that. I'll just put 70907. All right. All right, guys. So this next line item right here is garbage. So where will we put garbage? 3 points again. Anyone want to guess where we put line item 198? Trash removal. So let's just go ahead and do that. So that's 61,923.07. Okay.
So any reason why we have a separate entries for? Hello?
Hey, I'm here. Yeah, we can hear you.
The other window that we have,
this one?
Yeah. So why they have separate entries for electrical, gas, and water and sewer when we are combining, for example, payroll all together? Why can we combine electrical, gas, water and sewer, trash remover as a single entity and just sum those on up?
What would you call the line item?
I mean, utilities, for example.
Yeah, I mean, they usually like to break it out, just to get an overall idea of like each individual cost is, because usually as you look at a lot of these deals, you get familiar with what a traditional unit cost would be. So, like trash removal, you could see this per unit cost is like $291. Contracted services is 13. So like for a lot of people that attend these calls frequently with Charles, when we underwrite these for a certain amount of time, you get comfortable and you say, oh, okay, well, this seems kind of low or this seems kind of high, right? So I think that's the purpose of really breaking it out, just so you can get a better idea, of how this property is operating versus like other properties on a per unit per year basis. So it just allows us on a high level to, understand like what's going on in the property, right? So if I have, let's just on that same example, right? Let's say for electrical, let's say my electrical is $500,000, right? If I were to just bump in electrical with everything else, it would really be hard to see if that electrical cost is above normal because it's just one line item, right? But if $500K for electric is going to raise some eyebrows here, it's $23.47 a unit. On some properties, our total per unit expense is around like $4,000 or $5,000, So if we having, $2,300 on one line item, that's like a red flag to us, right? So we were like, okay, we need to figure out why that electric is so high. But that's usually why it's like that.
Plus, what about if you have the meter separately? You can meter separately and then you have different entries, right?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry. If it's metered separately.
Yeah, you have different line entries, right?
If it's sub-metered, meaning like the tenant is paying the bill, usually that's not an expense that's covered in here, right? So, if you have a property that's sub-metered for water, the property wouldn't really be paying for that. The tenants would, right? So we wouldn't really include that anywhere here, unless it's like a bill back, right? So if the property is paying for the water and sewer, but we're charging a tenant $50, $60, $70, on a rubs or something like that, or a flat fee, or if you have rubs, then that would be realized up here as income, but I don't know. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right. Cool. So let's take this total for electrical. Let's go ahead and throw it in. Alrighty. So we got our electrical. This is our water and sewer. Alrighty. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. So insurance premium, line item 202, I guess 3 points again. Where would you guys classify this one? Line item 202?
Could that be contract services maybe? Or no?
That be G&A?
One more. Come on, you guys got it. Line item 202.
Should be insurance.
There we go, guys.
Oh,
insurance. You got it. Come on. Hey, I'm right here with you. We're gonna get through this, okay? All right. So total insurance right here. This is insurance. So that total is 124,526.84. All right. Cool. All right, guys. So we're looking at line items 206 through 207. Where will we classify these? Line items 206 through 207.
It's taxes. Real estate taxes.
Real estate taxes. Thank you. Got it. Perfect. So let's go ahead and tally this up.
Hey, Eric, quick question. I see that you are summing up all the columns for any row, even though there's a sum is already on line number, on column number N.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because that you don't trust the D12 that you receive from the broker, that they can, maybe the calculations is not right, and you just want to verify that?
I've seen mistakes before.
Yeah, Charles usually just instructs us to, like try to, run our own numbers and stuff like that. So, you don't have to do this, right? I'm just kind of used to it, like just breaking it out, like as a, basically like a little test, like as we're going through. So you don't necessarily have to do it, but I think if Charles was on the call, he would say it wouldn't hurt.
I see, for example, row number 206, which is the real estate taxes, and 189,061, and you also did this again on column number Q. So Q. It's so it's the same. You just sum it up columns in a row for every month.
Yeah,
and you could just pick it up from the column number N.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you got to trust and verify on that information. You don't just take their information, because they work for the person that's selling the property. So that information has to be double checked. So Eddie is doing it the right way by breaking it out like that, because you're gonna have to double check it. You can't take their word for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think, as you get in more calls, you like Charles would definitely like ring that, true. That, it's a good practice to do that, right? Charles, I said you maybe don't need to do it, but Charles would probably correct me and tell you need to do that. You know, Charles would probably say, hey, man, you know, you need to do that because we can't really trust the numbers. And you can hear it, you know, rings true like with everyone, you know, that's responding, you know, frequent people on the call. So it's just good practice. It's just good practice, you know, as you continue like looking at these deals and everything.
You'll find out the hard way if you trust their numbers.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's a good point.
We don't want that. We don't want that, guys. Okay. All right. So guys, I think that's it for the T12 income here. So let's go ahead and hop over to the OM. Let's do that. Hey guys, let me know if y'all can see my screen good on this OM, or if it's too big, too small, if I need to adjust it.
No, it's good. We can see it.
It's good? Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right, fellas, guys and gals. So guys, when we're looking at the OM, what are things that we're looking for generally with the OM?
Questions to ask the broker.
There we go. Perfect. So Charles always teaches us, you know, as we're going through OM, we're looking at, you know, questions that we can ask a broker, you know, about the deal, right? So that's what we're gonna focus on the call. So usually, you know, we don't really focus on the market too much, like with these calls. You know, we usually, you know, just like to focus on the property and the rent comps. So we'll like just glaze through the market a little bit, but our focus is going to be on the property, the property and then the rents. So let's go ahead and read through here. So this is a 213 unit property, guys, is built in 1974. The average unit square feet is 1123. Rentable square feet, 239, 258. Is at 97% occupancy. You guys think that's a good occupancy for a property size? 213 units, 97% occupancy. Yeah,
absolutely. If it's true.
Yeah, if it's true, right? So trust and verify. I love it, Marcus. I love it. So yeah, so it looks good. You know, high level. You know, it's a good occupancy. The average market rents here are $1,000. You guys feel good about that? You think that's a good average market rent here? $1,000. You know, it's pretty solid. I would say it's pretty solid, right? So let's read through. It says, the Cushman & Wakefield Sunbelt Multifamily Advisor Group is pleased to present the exclusive listing of the 213-unit, the Kenzie apartment community located in Birmingham, Alabama. So this asset is desirably situated along the thriving US 280 corridor, one of the metro's high growth areas with 18 million square feet of retail and office space. Embedded near quality employment opportunities and upscale amenities, the community attracts a high-quality resident profile. The asset features 70 partially renovated units and 91 fully renovated units, achieving rent premiums of up to $200. Built in 1974, the Kenzie offers the investor a rare opportunity to acquire a cash-flowing asset with robust value-add potential. So when we read this, guys, what are some things that like sticks out to you guys? Like, what do you think the broker is trying to hone in on here?
They always tell you can do the upside that you have that they never did. Like you can raise the rents $200 and you can renovate these 91 units, something they didn't do.
A value add, right? Like a value add, right? Perfect, right? So you see this right here, they're highlighting that value add potential on this deal, right? And then also the location, right? So they're highlighting that this is desirably situated along the US 280 corridor. So I'm from Birmingham. This would be considered a area, guys. This is a really affluent area right here. You know, the 280 corridor. So the broker is trying to focus in on location and the value add on this property. You know, because this is a 74 vintage. So the property itself would actually, I think Charles would probably classify it as a C class. Guys, would y'all agree with that? 1974 vintage, you know, just off of the age. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we could say this is a C class asset. in an A-class area, right? With a value add potential. Okay. Alrighty. Let me see if I can, sorry, zoom this out a little bit. Okay. All right, so they're just basically showing like where the Kenzie is compared to, you know, other properties in the area. Just a little fun fact. This property right here, when I first moved to Birmingham, I used to stay here. So I can verify like this area is like a really nice, you know, A-class area, you know, and, you know, this property has room to grow. So that's just a little fun fact there. They're also saying that they estimate about 8,500 a unit for the value add. So guys, I'm gonna just hop off on the model real quick and just punch that in. So as a placeholder, so we don't forget. So I'll go to my CapEx reserves here. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and change this to 8,500 a unit. And this is a 213 unit property. So we'll just put that here as a placeholder. So we'll just go with the broker's numbers for right now. But remember, as we get deeper on into underwriting and due diligence of the property, you know, I'm sorry, as we get to under contract on the property, we would adjust this number once we can get in and get, you know, actual numbers on it, right? But high level is really difficult to get that gauge on how much it's going to cost, you know, because they usually don't give you access to go and bring in contractors in the unit unless you have it under contract typically. So I'll just put that as a placeholder right there. Okay, so they're just talking about some performance trends here. So guys, you know, they're assuming a 10% year over year rent growth. So anyone that's, you know, been in the market, you know, for a while, do you think 10% year over year rent growth is sustainable?
No.
No. Yeah, I agree. You know, so you know, we look for questions to ask the broker, right? So Charles would probably consider this one of them, right? Like this, I mean, obviously this is a marketing package, so they're not going to view this, you know, the same way that we would, but I would not use this in our underwriting, you know, for a year over year rent escalator or rent growth, right? Typically, you know, we're doing 3 to 4%, right? The broker is saying 10%, right? So now you see why it's important to, you know, verify, right? We don't want to just go ahead and say, oh, the broker's saying 10%. Let's just go ahead and assume 10% from years 1 through 5, right? So let's, you know, this is maybe a question to ask the broker here, you know, how are you coming up with that? Like, how do you think this is sustainable, right?
So how do we get these numbers? Let's say we don't trust the broker, and if you want to see what's the year over year rent growth, especially the last year has been very abnormal in terms of rent growth. But if you want to see the future projection for the next 5 years, what will be the best way to, you know, get these numbers?
So usually, if you have a good relationship with like a broker, you know, CoStar would be a good resource. City Data, Mark said City Data. So CoStar, City Data, you know, maybe if you have a relationship with a broker that may not be at this firm or actively marketing the deal, you can ask them about, okay, what would you think is a fair assumption on average year over year rent growth, right? Typically on these sessions, like high level, just to get through the initial underwriting. So that's what we're doing, initial underwriting, right? Just to see if this deal is palatable for us to move forward, right? So for our initial underwriting, typically, you know, Charles would assume anywhere from 3% to a 4 or 5% rent growth. More probably on the conservative side, right? So I'd say Charles usually assume like a 3%. So that's what we'll do for the purpose of this call. Like once we hop back in, we'll go over and we'll, you know, just assume 3% for the rent growth.
Yes.
All right.
So broker, do you think the broker will be, you know, reliable source of, because he is the one who put this number anyways. And
Yeah.
if I see that there's a conflict of interest too, and he would like to have a higher, year-to-year rent growth, and he's probably going to back this number, whatever he put in. So do you mean that ask around other brokers in the market to see, what will be the year-to-year growth in this market rather than the one who is advertising it?
Yeah, I would say brokers and property management companies, because you got to think about it, right? What's the objective of this broker, right? The objective of this broker is to get as much money as humanly possible from us on this property, right? So when they go in and taking these pictures, they're going to highlight all of the good things about the property, not really the bad stuff, right? That goes for our assumptions here too. So definitely I would verify with a property management company or another broker that may not be affiliated with this particular deal. You could probably reach out to them and say, hey, I'm looking at this deal. What do you think about these assumptions? Because they're not really affiliated, so they may just give you the honest truth on what they think it can do, right? But Charles would always tell you, we want to use our own numbers in most cases, with these OMs, so we don't really want to, just take that 10% rent growth and assume that, because we may be in some trouble down the line if that's not sustainable.
Can you reach out to property management companies other than what is with the firm or with the complex to maybe see what they're saying?
Yeah, definitely. So for instance, like if you have good relationships, like in the market, you may be able to just reach out to them. Charles always says, make sure it's not every single deal you're looking at, because they're going to get tired of you. So you want to make sure it's a deal that, you hot and ready to pursue before you go ahead and send it over to them. Because you don't want to be that guy or gal that's, sending every single deal that comes in your mailbox to them. Hey, what do you think about this rent growth? What do you think? What do you think about this property? Soon they're going to put you on the blacklist. So I would say kind of use them strategically, but definitely, reaching out to like another established property management company. So one property management company that manages a lot of large properties in Birmingham, so that's where this property is located, we're looking at today, is called SPM. So usually, like, the deals that Charles and I and, we've looked at here, we've always like reached out to SPM for like a second opinion. So once you familiarize yourself with a market, you start to get to know like who are the big players, and then you want to really just reach out to them on a case by case, strategically. You don't want to burn them out. Okay. I want to go back real quick to slide. Well, can't get on. Okay, so let's just skip through that. So we go to 7. Is it skipping pages? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. It was skipping pages. So another thing I would say here, I wanted to just go back real quick. This rent premium here is pretty decent. I mean, we're talking about $150 to $200 a unit in premium. I think that's pretty decent. And also, they've renovated, a substantial amount of units on the property, right? So it's saying is only 60% of the units remaining to upgrade. So that's another thing, to point out. All right, let's keep it going. Okay. And then another thing I wanted to point out here, right? So let's look at these improvements, right? So they're saying this is a tier 1 improvement and a tier 2 improvement, right? So what are some differences y'all see between these two pictures right here? This is like a similar unit. They're just saying this is tier 1 upgrades they did and tier 2 upgrades. Like, what are some of the things that you guys would point out just looking at these two pictures that they upgraded? Appliances, great. So we went for
cabinets and they added a backsplash.
Perfect.
And yes, they painted the cabinets.
Painted the cabinets.
The
flooring too.
Yeah, flooring. So we see the new flooring in there. It looks like they have new handles on there as well. Stainless steel cabinets, the backsplash. Can't tell if the blinds were upgraded, but yeah. So it looks like they've been doing improvements. I mean, this is a this is a classic unit, but it looks like they've done some work to it. So it doesn't look like, those 40, it doesn't look like the 60% of units that's left on the property is probably like just in 100% classic condition. It looks like they've done some type of upgrades to it. So that's pretty encouraging. So, by us putting in $8,500 a unit, right? Do y'all think we can potentially catch up, on this upside? So they're saying the average in the market right here is 1150. We're at, it looks like around like 965-ish right now. So do y'all think by putting in 8,500 a unit that we could potentially catch up to what the average is here, considering like this property, the Kenzie, is located in a really good like A-class area? Do y'all see some potential like value add right there? Or any thoughts on that? Any feedback?
What's the comp?
I would be really hesitant to do that. I mean, you're never going to turn a C class into an A class, even if the area is A class. So,
based on the numbers, the answer is yes. But again, you can go from a C class to a B class property. You can make it a B class property, and you do all the units and do some upgrades to outside and stuff out there. It's possible, and based on their numbers, yeah. But okay, because when you sit down with your management company and they're trying to implement your business plan, they'll tell you up front if you could get 10% and if you could get this rent, because they're the ones that are actually going to have to fulfill your business plan. So they're not going to. Most of them are good ones. They're not going to promise you to do something and they can't do it.
That's great feedback. I love it. Thanks, Marcus. That's great feedback. So guys, and we'll look at some rent comps. I think someone had said rent comps earlier. We will be looking at some rent comps here to just see, how this vintage of property sizes up to the market. But definitely, that holds true. We could change a property to a certain degree, but we can't really change a market, right? If we take this property as, let me take that. If we take one of these properties here, let's consider this 150 Summit apartment. I used to live here. This is like A-class property, right? If we were to take this A-class property and pick it up and put it, let's say, in a D-class area, it doesn't matter how nice that property look, guys. Sorry to tell you, we ain't hitting the rents, okay? So location, right? Location is really important. As operators, we could do a ton of value add to a property, but if that property is not in a good location, you're going to be in some trouble. All right. So this is talking about that 10% organic growth here. So, I don't think we should use that in our underwriting. So we'll be using, 3 and 2 for our underwriting. Okay. All right. So we don't really focus on market too much in these sessions, but I do want to just, maybe highlight some stuff here. So let's look at the. So they're saying the average household income in this area is $135K. So guys, a lot of people, that underwrite a lot of deals that's on this or frequent the sessions a lot. Do y'all think $135K in average household income is a decent income?
Yes, it is.
That's high.
It's pretty nice, right? So we ain't talking about an area here where Bubba is going to hit us across the head with a baseball bat, in the nighttime. We talk about like a pretty nice, like decent area, right? Well-maintained area. So 135K as an average household income is pretty encouraging. Let's just high level. Let's look at some of the retail, and just some of the businesses in the area, right? So we have Apple Store here. We have Publix, the Symmonett right here. So this is like a high-end shopping center right here. It's a medical center right here, Aldi's, Lowe's. So guys, based off of what we're seeing here, as far as like retail, I would say this is a pretty decent area. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, and then let's look at page 10.
So just a question. I just run this city in the U.S. Census, and the average because
it's like 67K. It's like 67K for average household, right? Average nationwide household. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
In that city, I know 135 is really high. Even if you look at some of the, for example, I live in a Bay Area, East Bay. So the houses on the average is about 1.8, 1.9 million. And in the city where I live in, so average household income is about 180, 190. So this area, and that's one of the expensive areas. So this 135, I think, sound very high.
Yeah.
For Alabama.
It's a micro area.
Yeah. Great points, guys. Great, fantastic points, right? So, just as a basis, the average household income nationwide in the U.S. is around $67,000, right? This property is located in the Southeast, right? The Southeast, the Sun Belt states, they're known for their lower cost of living, especially when you talk about a market like Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, a lot of these markets, have like the lowest cost of living, right? So when you're talking about a property that's located in a low cost of living market, but has an above average household income, that's really encouraging, I would say.
No, what I'm really saying is that is $135,000 a year in the OM, which the broker provided, is that number where we can trust? Or what I see that
no,
it may not be.
Look at the employers and ask yourself that question. Do any of them pay their average workers $135,000 a year? You can get the answer yourself. I mean, again, trust but verify.
I like that, Marcus. Trust but verify.
I mean, I'm cutting through the BS and straight to it. Look at these employers on this page and ask yourself if they're paying their workers $135K a piece.
Yeah, mostly not.
That's a good point. I would also say that, this corridor right here, this 280 corridor, it's a quick commute to downtown Birmingham, about 10 minutes away. So just giving you guys some context, living in the market, being here for a while, is tradition like here for folks to live further out of the city and commute to work in the city. So that's just kind of like how Birmingham is. Like a lot of people live further out in suburbs, like this suburb right here near 280. It's areas like Vestavia, Mountain Brook, where they may actually be located in these areas right here. But these folks are like commuting, downtown to go to work, because this is really like a 10-minute commute. And with a city like Birmingham that has like the county has a population of 1.2 million, it's a sizable city, but it's not like an Atlanta, right? So people can really get to work, pretty frequently, my commute to work, is maybe like 10 to 15 minutes, from where I live. So it's just like that's usually what it is. But Marcus, that's a fantastic point. Verify. We want to make sure that, we actually get some real numbers on what we think the average household income is. But I just want to give you guys some color. That's usually how it is in this particular market. A lot of people commute to work. Okay. So I know Charles doesn't really like to make this too much about market. So if it's not any other questions, let's just keep moving on through these some highlights here. I'll just try to glaze through those. So I guess this is just a little bit about Birmingham. So Birmingham is third in the U.S. as far as lowest employment, second in the U.S. as far as median income growth. So this isn't like a primary market, I would say, but I would classify Birmingham as more of an emerging market. Living here for 5 to 6 years, it's been a substantial change as far as like the city's involvement in developing infrastructure and reinvesting, in their communities. So living here in 6 years, I've seen a huge change. They've gotten like a soccer team. I almost said football, a soccer team, NBA G League team, second league like football team. So the city is under good management here. They they hosted the World Games in 2022. So it's a lot of encouraging things about this city. I would classify this as like an emerging city when you're seeing statistics like this, but it's not a primary market, right? So this is not Atlanta, this isn't really like a Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, but it does have some positives there. Okay. So let's hop in, let's talk about, just the property itself, right? So this is a 213 unit property. It was built in 1974, 2-story building, and it's located in Shelby County. And this is the unit mix here. So we have a good amount of 1-bedrooms. It looks like it's about 60, 70, about 80 something 1-bedrooms, about 100 to 120 or 130 like 2-bedrooms. So go ahead, Cam. You have your hand raised. Go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah, just curious for the tax mill rate, if they reassess like after X years or at the change of ownership.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I actually, in preparation for the call, I did reach out to my tax guy. So I do have some notes for us when we hop back into underwriting. But for right now, Birmingham, they usually reassessed, every year.
Okay.
That's usually what it is. And usually in Birmingham, if you're purchasing a property past October the 1st, usually that value probably wouldn't get picked up until 2 years. So let's say we close on a property October 15th of this year, that new value or that new purchase price that you bought the property for, most times it wouldn't get picked up until 2024. That's usually how it is. If you purchase it prior to October the 1st in this same year, so let's say we were to buy a property today, unfortunately it would pick that up in 2023. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
usually how it is. Like in the Birmingham and the surrounding counties, so like Jefferson County, Shelby County, and then I have some notes for us, in the P&L. I'm sorry, in the underwriting when we get back to it on that. So would you guys consider this like a pretty decent like floor plan? Any feedback on what do you guys think about this floor plan here? The unit mix. I'm sorry, y'all think it's a good unit mix? So I would say, I mean, it's an okay unit mix. I don't see any 3-bedrooms here. It's 213 units. We talking an A-class area here. It would have been nice to see maybe some townhome units and maybe some 3-bedroom units. The property is built in 74. So traditionally, Charles usually says, properties that's built, 40-ish, 50-ish plus years ago, a lot of times the designs were different there. You usually see less open floor plans, smaller square footages on the units. So, I mean, this unit mix may be reflective of the age of the property. So let's look at some amenities on the property, right? So we have laundry facility, sun deck, we have tennis court here, fitness center, pool. So overall, guys, does this look like would y'all consider this like a well-maintained property? What do y'all think about like the condition of this property?
Looks nice.
It looks pretty decent, right? Yeah. I mean, honestly, guys, I think this couch is older than me. I would just point that out, that green couch right there, that looks pretty old. So that may have came with the property, actually. This was built in the 70s, so that may be the original couch, I mean, the hardwoods, I mean, they look good. I mean, we don't really just see this red hardwood much. We're seeing like more grayer tones nowadays. I would say, tennis courts, in the 70s, they may have been popular, but nowadays we don't really see much like tennis courts with like newer build properties. We're seeing more like grilling stations and what do they call those? Like the gazebos, and like dog parks, stuff like that. This one has a tennis court. So, I mean, maybe that's an opportunity to repurpose this, I mean, that may be something that we could do, if value, if the rent supported or is recommended by a property management company to repurpose the area. Maybe that's something that could encourage and attract more people to the property, right? So, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, floor plans look good, So these are the renovated units. So you can see they're more modern looking. You see they have like this gray flooring here, stainless steel appliances. So, I would say they did pretty well with the rehab. One thing I would point out here, guys, this is kind of peculiar right here. This looks like a bathroom. I don't know if you guys can see this picture right here. It looks like it's a washer and dryer side by side in the bathroom. Guys, is this common? I've never seen it like this. Have you guys ever seen this layout where it's like washer and dryer in the bathroom like this?
Not normally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that's a deal breaker, but that does raise the eyebrows, right? Taking a shower and washing laundry at the same time. I don't know, but yeah, that is pretty weird right there. All right.
It does kind of look like the tub is across from the laundry machines. See the faucets?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's weird.
Yeah. So they just decided to just throw everything in one place, huh? So that's what we're looking like here. So it may be pretty tight on the inside, man. So that may be something that, we have to look at that when we're getting our rent comps, like an older property like this with, smaller floor plan maybe, or, just a different layout, it may not be as desirable as like a new build that has like that more open floor plan. So, that's just something to note there. I personally, I probably wouldn't like to take a shower and have my girlfriend or something washing clothes at the same time, so that is something to note as you have people that's coming in, to look at it, but I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker. So this is more like location. Yeah, so we're seeing, the city, putting $2.5 billion, in, as far as capital investment, and 20,000 jobs in the past 3 years, right? So, I definitely think that's encouraging. More about the market. We'll just skip through that. Sorry, guys, just reading through that a little bit. Okay. All right, guys. So let's look at the apartment market here, right? So our subject property is in red. This is where our subject property is. So guys, just based off location, what do you think would be the best comps for us to pull here? This is our subject property here. Everything is kind of spread out. Don't you guys think? It would be nice. It would have been more encouraging to see things a little bit closer here. But I guess based just off of geography, like which comps do you think, would be?
1, 2, and 4 appear to be the closest.
1 and 8,
yeah. I'll definitely agree with you guys. I definitely think, we should use comps 1, 2, and 4, as the more applicable comps. So that's
on the other side of that highway, though, to be a different market area.
Yeah, that's a great point, guys. So Charles usually teaches us, you want to be wary when you have like an intersection here of highways or railroads, because typically, that can mean a whole different area, right? So, for the call, we could use that 1, 4, and maybe 2, but just being a little bit wary about 2, because of that intersection. So maybe 1 and 4 will be the strongest ones, and then 2, we could probably just look at that too. All right. These are just the breakdowns. And Charles usually likes to say, in these OMs, they usually have the property management company listed here. So for folks that, are looking at a new market, this may be a good way to start building a list of property management companies to call, right? especially if you're seeing a common management company, that's managing a lot of the properties, right? So just for example, what if we had Arkin Capital, and that name kept popping up? That may be a good indication of maybe reaching out to them because they may know a lot about the market and have experience, right? So that's one thing to know about these OMs. It's always good to go through them because you could start collecting some data, and building out a property management list of people to call. So this is the one I actually stayed in right here. I mean, it's something else, right? I mean, when I first moved to Birmingham, just off on a tangent a little bit here, but I moved to Birmingham in 2017, not knowing anything about real estate, and here we are, 5-6 years later, we're underwriting a deal, and the comp is coming up where I used to live. So that's the crazy thing about real estate, guys. Just stick at it. Myself included. That's just really encouraging for me right there to just see that. All right, let's keep it moving. These are some nice looking properties. Wouldn't you guys agree? I mean, pretty decent looking properties here.
Definitely.
Yeah. All righty. So this is like our 1 bedroom here. This is what we're getting, our effective rent. The average rent in the market is $1,000. So, I mean, it's good to see that, we're further along to the bottom. We do have some nice size floor plans here at 980. We do have like some properties here that's at 677, 673. So overall, even with this property being a 1970s vintage, it's still encouraging to see some nice floor plans. And I would actually say we're on the larger side of the floor plans here, with the exception of like a couple of properties. I mean, we have pretty decent sized floor plans. So that is encouraging there. Right. Same thing it looks like with the 2 bedrooms. We got 1370. We have some properties here that's at 1,000, 977. So we're not the biggest. The largest is definitely 1484. I'm sorry, Inverness Cliffs at 14,000, 1,400. I'm sorry. But we're pretty close for a 1970s vintage. Kim raised his hand. Go ahead, Kim. You had a question?
Yeah, on page 35 in the OM, like where it's showing rent comps, the year built, the oldest one is 1974, and then like other than number 4.
Kim, what page did you say? I'm trying to follow with you for the class. You said page 35?
Yeah, 35.
Is this the right one? What you were looking at right here?
Try.
Was it this one?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
So the subject property is at the top, built in 74, and then the other one that is like number 4 that's also built like during the same year.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the rest, like it's all newer, so the rents are gonna probably be higher because it's newer, right? And so
agreed.
There's a bias there, to make it look rosier, I think.
Yeah. So you're thinking, maybe some of these photos or, putting, we may not be really as competitive as these newer properties, right? So, definitely have to consider that year built there, when we're trying to see where we're going to take rents, and just know that, a property that's built in 1995 may be a lot older, but overall, 95, I mean, that's almost 30 years old right there. So overall, like we don't really have much new builds here, right? We don't really have much 2010, 2015, or 2020 properties, right? Overall, I mean, these are pretty old, but definitely we're on that lower end of the ball curve here, having a property built in 74 with only one other property here that's in that same 70s vintage. So that's a great point, Kim. Thank you.
Yeah.
Eddie, do you follow that suit of if it's more than 20 years old? That's the type of class it is. Like You could be in a Class A neighborhood, but because it's 20 years old, you're a Class B.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely, I think classifying properties based on age, I mean, is a good basis. So we may be in an A-class area, that's a great point, but would it be in an older property? The individual property may be closer to a C-class property, actually. I think Charles would probably identify this as a C-class property. I mean, just driving this property, I mean, it has like 3-tab shingle roofs, not dimensional shingle, or, you could see this look like aluminum over here, for, what do you guys call this again? Awnings. The awning, like, is aluminum awnings right here. So, I mean, you do have some old school things on the property, right? So, but still, the location is pretty solid. So it isn't a good location, but that's great points. This is a older property. So let's consider that when we move forward and get into like our rent comp analysis. So that's great points, guys. Great points. Appreciate the input. Yeah, I was worried, everyone, it had just been crickets here, but like, this has been fun, man. I really appreciate it. I'm having a good time going through this with you guys. Everyone has been really responsive. So I really appreciate you guys, really appreciate you guys' feedback. Okay, so let's keep it moving. All right. So we could probably, just kind of look at where we're stacking up, like versus like the broker real quick. So let me see if I can zoom in. Alrighty. So the pro forma for the broker is pretty in line with actual right here, guys. This top line, scheduled market rent, 2,521, 2,570. Doesn't look like their gross potential rent is too much off from ours, but they do have a premium here, an upgrade premium that they're accounting for of $232,000. That's bumping up this revenue here. So guys, is it a good practice to go off of what the brokers are saying as far as income?
No.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Jeff. So, Charles would always tell us, it's not a good, practice to just go off of what they're saying here. Because remember, the OM, they might as well just call it a market and package, because that's really what it is, right? Everything in here is to encourage you to pay the most for this property, right? So we don't really want to use their numbers as far as income, but it is good to see like a side by side. And this may be one of the questions we ask the broker, right? So as we're going through, we're trying to find questions to ask the broker. So this may be one of them, right? Like, why, is the income so different here? And what's driving that? What do you think we need to do to achieve that? So it's looking like they're having like small increases here for expenses. So electric is up a little bit, well, it actually is about the same. Water and sewer is up a little bit. Trash removal about the same. Landscaping is about the same. Turnover about the same. Repairs and maintenance, same thing. Payroll, they have it about the same. So sometimes we would look at OMs, guys, and this actual payroll number would be lower. It'd be lower on the pro forma. And Charles usually would point that out and say, that's not really a good practice there, because, what do you think is going to happen if you buy a property and you lower payroll, right? If you buy a property and you lower payroll, that's an easy way to encourage people either to leave.
Turnover. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either to leave, great point, either leave or stay and just not work as motivated, right? So that's the easiest way to put yourself in some issues, day one on a property. Just go ahead and cut someone's check and ask them to do the same amount of work. That may not be a good idea, guys. So, G&A, they're low in G&A a little bit, about $10,000. They're keeping advertising about the same. They're actually, increasing the property management fee here to 3%. The real estate taxes is staying the same. So like, guys, I mean, do you think this is a good practice here for us to keep our real estate taxes the same as historical?
No.
Do you think the real estate taxes would stay the same?
No.
Yeah. So Kim, why is that not the case? Why wouldn't it stay the same?
Well, things just cost more each year, and in terms of like how each state, district, county, like we will assess that, like it's all different. So it's all good. So like it's always good to call the tax assessor's office and then to ask.
Yeah, great points, Kim. Great points. So, and then also, we're paying more for this property too, right? So we're paying more for the property. So if we're going to be paying more for the property, the city is going to want their money, so they're going to charge us more in property taxes. We could keep the rents the same, but, especially in this county, they're picking up the taxes. They're picking up sales every single year and adjusting taxes, right? So, it's not a good practice for us to keep the taxes the same. And actually, I did some homework on this deal, and I actually have some assumptions that we'll explore once we get back into the underwriting. So let's see. Property taxes here as well. Property insurance here as well. You can see it's lower, than what the historical is. So, do you guys think that's a good practice? To have property insurance lower? What do you think the odds would be of us getting property insurance lower than what it currently is on a property this vintage?
Highly doubtful.
Probably nothing. Exactly. Exactly. So for our underwriting guys, we're going to assume a higher tax number here. A higher insurance number here. And then capital reserves, right? So reserves for replacement. This property is built in 1974. So I definitely think having a replacement reserve of 300 is probably good practice. If we saw like 200 or 250 here, I would probably question that. But, Charles usually likes to see, a capital reserve of 300 or more for a property with an older vintage. So they have some information about millage rate, but I took some notes on that. So we'll go about, in detail about that. All right. And I think that's it for the OM. So we made it through, guys. So let's hop back over. Do you guys want to hop back over? Let's just maybe do a quick analysis to see where this deal pencils out at.
Yeah.
Awesome. All righty. Cool. So so I already put like the unit mixes in here just to make it a little bit quicker for the session. Let's see if we can do some target rents. Okay, so this is the page we want to look at right here. Okay, guys. So for our 1-bedroom floor plans, what do you guys want to assume for our rents? So right now our effective rent is around $999. So what do you guys want to assume for our 1-bedrooms as far as like where we think we could take the rents on this property? What do you guys think about 1100, 1150? So
I think that'd be the max. 1150 would be the max, if that.
Okay. And I'm basing that off of this older property here, this 100 Inverness. This was one of the properties that had the 1970s vintage, so yeah, definitely, what do you guys want to go with? 1100, 1150? What are you guys feeling for 1-bedroom? Jeff, you were saying 1100 earlier?
I'd say 1100 is more reasonable.
Okay. Okay, cool. So let's use 1100 and let's see where this thing gets us. So we'll do 1100 for the ones. All right. So now let's look at our 2 bedrooms. All right. So for our 2 bedrooms here, we're at 1150, right? The top of the market is 1697. We're at 1150 for our 2 bedrooms. Where do you guys want to go on the 2 bedroom floor plans on this?
Say 13.
1350.
1350.
Yeah.
And I would say make your assumptions now, then reach out to some property management companies and get their input as well.
100%. So that's great. That's great. So yeah, let's do that then. Let's go with 1300 if y'all okay with that. We'll use 13. We'll use 1300. And we could probably do 1350 for the 2 bedroom 1.5s. They also have like a 2 bedroom, 2 bath floor plan here. That's like townhomes. So why don't we go about 1400 for that, for the 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And then they have a 3 bedroom, 1 bath. Oh, I thought, okay. They did have some, okay. So let's do that. Guys, I think that was a typo. It's actually 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath here. So this is supposed to be 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath. This is supposed to be 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And this is supposed to be 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So we got the ones, we got the 2 ones right here, 2 2s, 2 1.5. Okay, cool. So guys, usually on these sessions, we use market premium, which is usually the difference between our target rents and our current rents. So that difference here is, so we'll take this number, we would subtract it by the current average rents, and this would give us a number of 191. So guys, on a property this size, 213 units, how long would you guys think it would take for us to, turn over this whole tenant base, and get to market rents? How much years?
4 years, maybe.
4 years.
3 years.
3. So we got 4 years. We got 3 years. And anyone else?
I think 2, maybe.
We got 2 years. So I would lean more towards 2 years on this property, just because, they are saying that they said they renovated about 60% of the units on the property already. And we have about like 40% left. So why don't we just use 2 years, just for the purpose of the underwriting session. So that would be $95.50 a year. So we'll go ahead and add this as a market premium in years 1 and 2. Okay. And for our annual rent escalator, we're going to just stick with 3 and 2. And for our vacancy and concessions, let's just bump that up to 10% total for the total vacancy and concessions. There's no rubs on the property, so we'll take that out. And then let's put the other income. We'll just keep that the same as historical. All right. Okay. So real estate taxes. So I did some research on this property, and I got some feedback from our real estate guy here. Well, here's feedback from the broker. Here's feedback from our tax guy, right? So the brokers are anticipating this property to trade at a 5 cap on T3 income and performance NOI over a 5-year hold. So a 5 cap on the T3 performa would take us to 36 million. So this would be our purchase price. That's what they're saying to trade at. And this is some feedback from my tax guy. So he said, in Shelby County, like Jefferson County, typical tax values of recent purchases are 100% of the tax price. But this effective tax rate for this property is 0.875%. So with a purchase price of $31,950, which is 150K a door, it would be $279. But we're actually buying this property for $36 a unit. So our taxable is actually going to be this number right here, $315,190. So you see, guys, this is the historicals right here in this column. This is the actuals, the T12. So you can see our taxes went up substantially, wow. $100,000. So aren't you guys happy that we did some research there, to try to see where we would land?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go into insurance, right? So we all agreed that we're not going to keep insurance the same as what it did historically. So let's go ahead and let's see first off where we're at per unit on the T12 for insurance. So we're about at $585 a unit on this, right? Would you guys feel comfortable going up to $625, or what do you guys want to assume for our insurance here? So typically in the Southeast, we usually see it around 600, especially like in Birmingham. With this already being so close to 600, I feel like we should just go up to 625. So let's just do that. All right. Contract services, we'll leave that the same. Trash removal, we'll leave that the same. We'll leave electric the same. We'll leave water and sewer the same. Legal the same. All right, guys. So for a management fee, what do you guys want to charge for a management fee on this property?
You got 3%.
3%. I agree. So let's do 3. All right. So Charles will usually say, we never really want to assume anything lower than the seller without verifying exactly what those expenses are. So for the purpose of this initial underwriting that we're going to do, we're not going to go lower than what is done in the T12, but on some of these, we may just keep it the same. So let's see our per unit cost for payroll, guys. So $1,437. Do you guys think that's a pretty? What do you think? What do you think as far as payroll? You think that's expensive? You think that's cheap? What are you guys thinking as far as payroll? On this overall.
So that's a per door
price. Per unit. Yeah, 1,004. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. So it does seem a little bit high. But for the purpose of this, we don't really know what their situation is, and maybe room to go down on that, but we don't really know until we can verify, right? So for the purpose of the underwriting call, we'll just go ahead and keep this the same at 1437. But Jeff, you definitely hit the nail on the head. That seems pretty high right there. So for advertising, we'll keep that the same as well. Grounds maintenance, keep that the same. And turnover will keep the same as well. All right. So for our CapEx reserve, we're assuming $300 per unit per year for CapEx reserves. That's what we'll do. Then I just have something budgeted in here for syndication accounting, right? So we're approaching this deal as a syndication because I think majority of the people on the call, we like to look at deals like as a syndication. So that's what we'll go ahead and do. We'll assume this is a syndication. So we'll just keep about $7,000 in there for syndication. Charles usually has like a capital transaction fee here for the sponsors. So let's just go ahead and put in 1% there. We'll keep our closing costs assumptions to about 3%. Right. And there was also in the OM, they also had like a note of, I think it was like other rehab. It was like $103,000. So we'll just go ahead and put that under exterior as miscellaneous. Okay. And for our deferred maintenance reserve, right? Charles usually likes to see 4 to 6 months. Anyone on the call, can you remember, did he go up to 8 months?
I think he went on 8 months the last call.
He went up to 8.
Didn't he? 8 months last time, yeah.
8 months? Okay, yeah. So let's do that. So we'll assume 8 months. So that's 8 months of the operating expenses. So 8 months of this number will be $928. Yeah. Almost $1 million, guys. So that's where we at. But I mean, for a property this size, Charles would probably say you could burn through that, 213 units, at a 1974 vintage, he'd probably say, you could just burn straight through that, right? So we'll go ahead and assume 8 months for our deferred maintenance reserve. And, we'll just leave this how it is, because I mean, that's a substantial number. Let's see if we even pencil in like where we're at right now with that. So let's go back to the dashboard. And let's see where we're shaking out at. So we're in the negative, guys. So this is the returns here. I'll just put my target metrics. Charles, may be a little bit different. I think his is a little bit higher. So my target IRR is 14. Average cash on cash between 6 to 8. Okay, not the month. 6% to 8%. Okay. I like average annualized return between 15 to 18. Equity multiple between 1.7 to 2x traditionally. Okay, so you can kind of just see, like, even on my return assumptions, that we're not really hitting anything on this property. But let's go ahead and maybe make some debt assumptions, right? So how do you guys want to approach this deal? I would say let's go agency on it, unless anyone else has like a different opinion. What do you guys think about agency? You want to look at it from an agency perspective?
Okay.
All right, let's do that. So right now, agencies, they're doing down payments of 35 to 45%. So let's just go on a property this size. Why don't we do 40%? And the rates right now, so I would just say about for agency, Freddie SBL, my broker actually told me they were in, the 6s for the small balance loan product right now. For a property this size, why don't we just go 5.5 on the rate? We'll do 3 years of interest only and a 30-year amortization. And then on the hold, let's go ahead and do 5 years. And for the exit cap, I think in the SDA, they usually assume, is it anyone that uses the SDA tool, is it 50, is it 10? No, it's 10 basis points a year, right? On the exit cap, guys? Anyone that's using SDA?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go up 50 basis points. So let's just make it five exit cap and see where we shake out at. So at a 5 cap rate at the purchase price, that these guys want, we ain't really hitting anything. I mean, we're not negative anymore, but you can kind of see we're not hitting any of our target metrics here. So one thing that we could potentially do to get a little bit closer is reach out to a property management company and maybe ask them, is there room to go ahead and increase rents higher than what we have it, right? So maybe if we increase these rents a little bit, we may be able to bridge the gap, on that purchase price. But it's hard to do that, without getting like some feedback from a property management company first, right? So that may be a follow-up, on a deal like this would be to reach out to the property management company.
Hey, Ed.
Hey.
What was the entry cap rate?
The entry cap rate on this is 4.44.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just rounded it up to 5. And then we'll just assume like how the SDA does it. So 10 basis points a year. So that may be one thing to reach out to, the property management company on rents. Then another thing we could probably do is get some feedback on debt. So usually, with the OMs, like they usually have a debt team there. So Cushman & Wakefield is a pretty large company. So it may be a good idea for us to reach out to their debt team and see, where we can get on the debt. Because maybe we may be able to do a little bit better than this. Like if we can get more leverage, I don't think the rate is going to be lower than this just on where the market's at. But I don't know, there may be more IO or something that we can get on a loan like this. So maybe reach out to the debt team on this deal. Or if you guys already have like some pre-existing relationships, with some mortgage brokers, you can reach out to some mortgage brokers too. Another thing we could probably do is, schedule a site tour. And at the site tour, we have an opportunity to talk to the broker. So we can actually, get more of an indication of where we're hitting on pricing guidance, right? So we may be able to say, hey, do you guys realistically see this thing trading at a 5 cap based off the T3 NOI and pro forma expenses, right? Or where do you guys see this thing, coming in at? Have you received any offers so far? Where did the offers shake out at? So usually, Charles likes to say these questions aren't questions you want to ask over email. These are questions you want to ask in person. So you really want to know, like, hey, in person, just candidly, you may pull the broker to the side before you leave and just be like, hey, I really like this deal. I'm just trying to firm up my numbers. Just want to get some feedback, right? Where do you see this thing really landed? Is it hitting guidance? Is there room? Is there room to go down on the price a little bit to get the numbers to work? Or, what's the seller's position, as far as pricing? Another thing we can ask is the debt assumable, right? So in the current market that we're in right now, we're seeing an uptick in assumptions. I think, anyone on the call, if y'all have some feedback on that, as far as assumptions, I've been seeing a lot more like assumptions, like as far as like on the OMs and like the initial, like not the OMs, but the initial emails, conversations from the brokers. They've been saying, hey, well, this debt is assumable now because it's just so expensive to borrow right now. So that may be something to ask the broker, is the debt assumable? Because if we have assumable debt, we may be able to do like a blended, a blended mortgage here. So we would go ahead and turn on this second mortgage status and then we can punch in, what the rate is to get like a blended rate. And then that may be more encouraging for us. We may be able to get closer on price. So let's just run an example. Do you guys want to see like price per unit, kind of like where we would need to land, for this to make sense? You want to just go through that? Okay. Just go through that real quick. All right, cool. So why don't we try 30K a unit? I'm sorry. Why don't we try $30 million? Okay. So at $30 million, this is 140 a unit, 140K a unit. And you can see the returns, we're not hitting our metrics, but it's a little bit better. We're not in the negative, right? Now, what's the odds of the broker, what's the odds of the seller accepting this? It's probably going to be low, because it's so much off the guidance, but I mean, even at 30, we're not really hitting our metrics. So let's try 25 million. Right? We add a zero. That would be nice, right? 2.5 million for a property like this size. That'd be really nice. Maybe this is like the 1950s. I mean, that'd be great, right? So 25 million. That's 117K a unit. And I mean, at 117K a unit, you see we're in the green. What's the odds of us, getting a discount of over 10 million off the purchase price? I mean, this guy probably would have to be caught with his pants down to do that. Like honestly, for us to get that much off the price. So, I mean, the odds of this is probably like really low, but you see it's kind of looking a little bit better. So we're at internal rate of return of 14%. Our equity multiple is at 1.84. Our average annualized return is 16.78. Our average cash on cash is 6.36, right? So that's kind of like where it would shake out at, if we were to go ahead and purchase this deal. So guys, I appreciate you being patient with me on this call. I know the big dog isn't here today, but he's going to be back next week, and all of those, detail, questions you had, I'm more than certain, Charles will be able to tack on to that next week. So definitely stay in tune. That's when, Charles is going to be back, and he'll be able to, polish up and provide, better experience. But I hope you guys, enjoyed, at the very least, at least we got a chance to see a different type of underwriting tool. So this one is called Synthesis. I really like it. It's not too complex to use. I'll go ahead and throw it in the chat right here for anyone that's interested in checking it out. It's about $150, I think. So definitely check that out. Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate the love. I'm trying, y'all. I appreciate everyone is saying thanks, great job. I really appreciate y'all patience, and like I said, Charles is going to be back next week. But yeah, I mean, I really, really appreciate you guys. It's a great community here that we have, and we have each other's back. So that's what I love about this community. So yeah, I put the tool in the chat. If anyone is interested in checking it out. But yeah, I'm gonna just open it up for questions. I'm not Charles, so I'll just try to give you what I think about it, but I'll definitely say verify with Charles, because that's all of our teachers. So, but yeah, open it up for dialogue or any questions, and then we'll wrap up the call. But thank you guys so much, for tuning in, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Thanks, Eddie. It was really nice.
Thank you so much.
I got to learn synthesis today. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Anyone have any questions before we hop off?
Oh.
All right. So yeah, once again, so this deal, so the recording is going to be available. It's going to be a recording of this call for anyone that's interested. So Charles is going to get that recording out, as well as the underwriting and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's been great, spending a Saturday with you guys and going through this. And, this deal is in Birmingham, so it's in my market. And I'll go ahead and just throw my contact information in the chat real quick, in case anyone would want to connect before we hop off. 1 second. But yeah, this property, it was in Birmingham, is currently on the market. And actually, guys, I think I'm going to take action on this one and set up a tour. So, Charles is always encouraging us to, take action. So I think I'm going to set up a tour on this, and, hopefully we can follow up on a future call and, see how it went. But that's my contact information there. Anyone have any final thoughts or anything before we hop off?
Great job.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And Charles will be back next week, and he's going to bring it. So appreciate you guys being patient, and I hope you guys had a good time. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.